Welcome back. It is Wednesday, and that means it's time for another Wild Wednesday. Joining me today is Allison Gold, Education Specialist with the Great Plains Zoo. And who do you have with you?
Today we have one of our Russian tortoises. Her name is Flip. They're also sometimes called a Central Asia tortoise because that is where they're found in Central and Eastern Asia.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Flip and, where these Russian tortoises usually are, like you said, and kind of their climate.
Yeah, so they're typically in rocky areas, so it could be a rocky desert, rocky hillsides, but they're really able to adjust what they need and their behaviors to those different types of habitats. So yeah, usually found throughout Central Asia is where they're most common, but wherever they're moving around, they are an herbivore, so they're looking for leaves and grasses and some flowers that are on the ground for them to munch on.
Yeah. What are some other facts about Flip?
Yeah, so Russian tortoises, the most fun fact that people know about them is they are the first tortoise species that was ever sent into space by the Soviet Union back in the day. And so they do have really good scientific history with that. But they are usually a smaller type of tortoise. So this is as big as Flip is going to get. She's a little bit on the smaller side for a female, but they do tend to stay pretty small.
Yeah, and kind of how does, their shell, all that help them, in the wild?
Yeah, so they have that shell with them throughout their entire life. It's just part of their body, so that is what keeps them safe from any predators. But compared to other tortoises, they do have a fairly long tail in the back, so hers is just kind of curled in there right now. But that can help them if they do get stuck on their back. They can use their tail as an extra leg almost to help them flip back over the right side up.
Flip. Yeah. Is it kind of like other tortoises we've talked about where they can feel like their shell?
They do. Yeah, that's the same for any tortoise. They have lots of nerve endings through there. So that's how she can know if something is trying to bite on to her shell, and then she'll just tuck right into her shell to keep her head safe.
Okay, what are some other facts then about them?
Yeah, so they are a really great digging species. So they do have some really long nails on all of their feet there. And they do a lot of digging where they'll spend a lot of time underground for almost half of the year. So when it gets too cold in the winter, they'll go underground for about 3 to 4 months. But then same in the summer, when it's getting too hot, they'll do another 3 to 4 months underground. So they are only active during certain periods, but when they are out and about, they are most active during the day or sometimes around dawn and dusk.
Okay, and then kind of where at the zoo can you find Flip?
Yeah, so we have 2 Russian tortoises. Flip lives behind the scenes. Our other Russian tortoise, his name is Buddy. He is in our education classroom, so he's more one that you can see when you visit. But Flip here comes out to all of our zoo mobiles and different types of programs, including our bookworms programs on Fridays.
Yeah. Any other cool facts about Russian tortoises?
They are one that has a really great sense of eyesight. So a lot of tortoises can see bright colors really well. And so that's what they're using to find their food for the most part. So if there's really bright flowers or fruits that are on the ground, that's what she'll see first, and she knows where to go and find some food.
Yeah. What kind of, predators are they kind of looking out for when they are in the wild?
Yeah, so they will watch out. They'll usually see a predator or hear it and feel it first on their body, but almost anything bigger than her might try to eat her. So that could be a fox, it could be a really large bird like a hawk, potentially snakes and just different large reptiles. But for the most part, keeping that shell on her is going to keep her really safe from any of those.
And then what does her diet consist of when she's at the zoo then?
Yeah, so we still give her that herbivore diet. So she mainly gets hay and lettuce, and then we mix in some fruits and vegetables just based on what we have, and always trying to mix it up so she's not getting the same thing every single day. But she could get apples and grapes or carrots and sweet potato. So always something a little bit different.
Yeah. What are some ways people can maybe visit Flip or the other Russian tortoises you have?
Yeah, so any of our programming, she always has a chance of coming out. So she is also one of our junior zookeeper creature feature animals. So throughout certain weekends in the wintertime, we do have creature features that aren't advertised, but they're just kind of a pop-up experience that we do at the zoo. So she makes appearances at those. And then our bookworms that we have every Friday at 10:30 at the zoo. She comes to those sometimes too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So cute. This is one of my favorites. Not a snake. Stick around, me more after the break.